I will do anything to unleash a secret that is being kept from me. I woke up to the sound of my coworkers and hushed whispers outside my cubicle. The fluorescent lights overhead seemed to flicker in sync with the hum of their nervous laughter. I reached for my cup of cold coffee, but my hand closed around an empty space. The coffee cup had vanished. I felt a chill run down my spine as I stumbled out of my cube to investigate what was going on. In the break room, the air was thick with the stench of stale coffee and stale secrets. Our team lead, Rachel, stood at the counter, her eyes fixed on the blackboard where a cryptic message was scrawled in red letters. It read, "I know what you did." The word seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As Rachel's gaze met mine, she leaned in and whispered, "I know what you did," under the floorboards, and my heart stopped beating. The sound of a wet sponge being torn apart echoed through my mind as I searched Rachel's face for any sign of recognition, but her expression was a blank mask. I stumbled out into the parking lot. The cool night air didn't help to clear my head. As I fumbled for my car keys in the dark, I saw a flash of movement from the corner of my eye. It was a figure lurking in the shadows. As I turned to face them, my skin crawled at the sensation of eyes crawling across my skin. The sound of wings flapping inside my ear canal made me spin around, but there was no one there. I made it to my car and peeled out of the parking lot, but my mind was still reeling from the cryptic message and the sinister tone in Rachel's voice. As I hit the highway, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following me. The rearview mirror reflected a person with a familiar smile, but it was wrong. Something in their face was off, like skin that's been stretched too tight over a skeleton. The smile seemed to grow wider and more menacing with every passing mile. I sped through the night, but my phone was blowing up with text messages from my coworkers, all of them the same. "I know what you did." The words seared themselves into my retinas like branding irons. I was paralyzed with fear as the messages kept coming. Rachel's voice still echoing in my mind, but now I was the one who was whispering the words back to her. "I know what you did." The sun was just starting to rise when I pulled into my driveway, but something was off. The lawn was overgrown and the windows were boarded up. The house looked abandoned, but the smell of rotten meat must buy cheap vanilla spray still wafted out the front door. I pushed it open with a sense of dread and called out for my family, but there was no answer. I walked through the house room by room, but every door was locked and every window was sealed. The only sound was the sound of my own ragged breathing and the creaking of the old wooden floorboards. As I descended into the basement, the air grew colder and the smell of rotting meat grew stronger. I stumbled upon a room that seemed to have been hidden behind a secret panel. The walls were lined with photographs, and in the center of the room was a single frame with a photo of me and Rachel standing side by side. The look on her face was the same fake smile my mother used to wear when she was taking me to see my father at the prison. Everything came crashing down in that moment. I knew the truth, and I knew I was in grave danger. Rachel wasn't just my coworker, she was my mother on the inside, the one who had been feeding me information to lead me into this trap. Now I knew I was being watched, and that every move I made could be used against me. As I looked around the room for an escape route, I saw Rachel standing behind me, a sly smile spreading across her face. The last thing I heard was the sound of my own heart being torn apart, and then everything went black.